Hey there, tech fans. Sean O here, and we are on the 8th chapter. That's the Flaskr tutorial in the docs on flask.paletsprojects.com. We just finished the blog blueprint chapter. That was chapter 7, and now we're moving on to make the project installable. And this is a relatively short chapter. I think the reason is the people who created this tutorial realized that this is kind of a large project on its own. In fact, Flask has its own tutorial for this subject, and it's relatively long. So they just summarize what's needed to get this done here, but really this deserves a separate tutorial video on its own. We'll read the contents of this chapter for this tutorial, which is the basic Flaskr tutorial, just to cover the material, and maybe in a future video we will address the packaging Python projects tutorial on its own. The reading says, make the project installable. Making your project installable means that you can build a wheel file and install that in another environment, just like you installed Flask in your project's environment. This makes deploying your project the same as installing any other library, so you're using all the standard Python tools to manage everything. Installing also comes with other benefits that might not be obvious from the tutorial or as a new Python user, including 1. Currently, Python and Flask understand how to use the Flaskr package only because you're running from your project's directory. Installing means you can import it no matter where you run it from. The second benefit is you can manage your project's dependencies just like other packages do. So pip install your project.whl installs them. And the third benefit, test tools can isolate your test environment from your development environment. And then there's a note. This is being introduced late in the tutorial, but in your future projects, you should always start with this. The next section is describe the project. The pyproject.toml file describes your project and how to build it. And now we see an example of the pyproject.toml file. It begins with, in brackets, the word project. And then underneath that, the variable name is assigned the string Flaskr. The variable version is assigned the string 1.0.0. The variable description is assigned the string the basic blog app built in the Flask tutorial. And then the dependencies variable is assigned in brackets the string Flask and then a comma and then the brackets close. Next we have the build-system in brackets, and under that it says requires equals, and then in brackets it's passed the flit_core less than sign 4 string. Then the build-backend variable is assigned the string flit_core.build_API. See the official packaging tutorial for more information of the files and options used. The next section is install the project. Use pip to install your project in the virtual environment. And then it has the terminal command pip install -e dot. This tells pip to find pyproject.toml in the current directory and install the project in editable or development mode. Editable mode means that as you make changes to your local code, you'll only need to reinstall if you change the metadata about the project, such as its dependencies. You can observe that the project is now installed with the terminal command pip list. And then it shows what you see with the pip list. There's a table. You have a column for package, you have a column for version, you have a column for location. The packages listed are Click, the version 6.7, Flask, version 1.0, Flaskr, version 1.0.0, It's Dangerous, version 0.24, Jind2, 2.10, Markup Safe, version 1.0, pip, version 9.0.3, and then Workzerg, version 0.14.1. The only item in that list that has a location is the Flaskr file, and that's in the projects directory and the user directory and the home directory. So nothing changes from how you've been running your project so far. --app is still set to Flaskr, and Flask run still runs the application. But you can call it from anywhere, not just the Flask tutorial directory. So that's the end of the Make the Project Installable chapter, and we can move on to the Continue to Test Coverage chapter.